It's time to duel!
What's happening, YouTube? Welcome to episode 2 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Disk Creations. It's going to be the official name of this series. You guys can check out my first video in this series, not titled the same, but I am going to make a playlist for you guys where I showed off my light rate duel disc. Very proud of that one, and I'm really excited to show you guys the new one that I made, one of the two new ones that I made, and kind of walk you through the process and all that good stuff today. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you guys to the Ancient Duel Disk series, Model Augusta. Look at that. This duel disk, if you couldn't tell from the intro, is based on the Amazonas monsters, draws a lot of its design motifs from that series of monsters. It has a body here, as you can see, that attaches to your arm through some straps, and then the field actually connects to the body with these chains, and the field zone is actually modeled after the sword for Amazonas Augusta. You can definitely see when it's pointed upright, although it is functionally held on its side. You can kind of see the monster zones there. You can see the spell and trap zones on the bottom as well. Mainly one thing that I do want to go over with you guys is some of the issues with the duel disk itself. I think duel disks are always going to suffer functionally just based on their general design relating to how the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is played. Anybody who's had one of the Battle City official duel disk toys, I never had one as a kid, but my cousins did, so I kind of, got to mess around with them a little bit. Anyone who's had one of those or messed around with one of those will know that duel disks are not very functional for how the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is played. They're not very functional in general. It's definitely a concept that works better in anime than in real life. Sometimes the cards don't necessarily stay in, especially for the spell and trap zones, but also for the deck zone. If you're moving around too much, sometimes I think I remember that they would kind of slip out. That could be really tricky. Keeping it upright on your arm, also very difficult without basically like really strapping it in or bolting it to your arm. That's why my light rate duel disk had the handle coming out of it to help keep it stable. The Amazonas duel disk here, the Model Augusta, does not necessarily have that, although I think I was able to mitigate that a little bit. And yeah, just like adding the cards to the field, taking them out, there's definitely a lot of issues that come along with that. This duel disk does not actually have, you'll see when I kind of go over it, doesn't have the ability to put monsters sideways in defense position. I think there are workarounds for stuff like that, but things like the spells and traps sliding out, the deck kind of sliding out, those are a little bit trickier to solve. So I do want to talk about that stuff when I'm showing it off to you guys, because these are things that, although they're issues, I do want to try and work on and mitigate a little bit as I continue to create duel disks. I don't know if there's 100% solutions for it, but maybe you guys can let me know in the comment section below. I also want to show you guys sort of some of those design motifs that I have on there and where they were inspired from the different Amazonas monsters. And then also, while I'm going through all of this, I am going to show you a little bit of the functionality of the duel disk by actually placing cards in it and all that good stuff. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Alright guys, so today I have a special guest with me who's going to help show off the Amazonas duel disk. My wife is here with me. She's going to be the one modeling it, and you can see right here some pictures of her wearing the full costume from the convention. Honestly, I think hers came out maybe better than mine. I really thought that it all worked together very nicely, and you can see there's a side-by-side here of her compared to the monster that I based her costume off of, Amazonas Augusta. So, like I said earlier, the duel disk itself is also based on Amazonas Augusta. You can tell by the blade, bears a striking resemblance to Augusta's blade. If you flip it this way, right, you can see that the sword hilt would basically be coming out down here. And that's also where these gold stars come from. And what I basically wanted to do with this was I wanted the chains to attach to the body of the dual disc, and the ultimate goal was for this to just be able to hang freely from the dual disc while the dual disc is attached to your arm. Now, that never really came to fruition. I mean, I let it hang for a second. I guess it kind of works, but honestly, I was never confident enough in the hold of where I attached the chain for it to just hang freely like that in general. You can see right here next to the deck box, we have a little loop that I attached, but let me see if I can get in closer with that. I did do, I kind of drilled a hole in, oh, hold on. There we go, you can kind of see it. I kind of drilled a hole to insert that in. It wasn't printed as a part of the body. Can you hold the blade for me, sweetie? Thank you. So it's, you can't really see it maybe when I'm moving it right now. Now you can. It's a little bit loose. So I wasn't super confident in the hold. Not that the blade is that heavy. The blade is only about, I think it's close to 1.5 pounds, somewhere maybe a little bit less than 1.5 pounds. But yeah, I wasn't super confident in the hold there. And then on the opposite side here, we've got the second chain attaching. This feels a little bit more sturdy. In order to get the chain on, you know, I had to print them separately and paint them separately. Here, bring it a little bit closer. There we go. I had to basically glue this piece right here down to the body of the dual disc with the chain sort of inserted underneath it. It does feel a bit more sturdy now, but I also feel like if I just applied too much pressure right here, this thing would pop right off, even though I used liquid cement 16 to fuse them together. So structurally, there are some issues. Just to kind of finish going over some of those structural issues, definitely the remove from play zone back here was a bit of a bust. It's not really wide enough compared to how, or it's not, it doesn't come out far enough compared to how tall the blocker is here. So it's really hard to get cards in there. Not to mention that it's basically an exact fit for a card in a sleeve. You can kind of see here. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit short. That's the card going basically all the way back. It doesn't quite fit in. And I think even if I were to kind of jam it in there and fit it in, it'd be really hard to get it back out too. The graveyard, I would say, doesn't suffer quite as much. You can see that the card slipped in really easily there. And then because it's open on the sides, it's easy to just grab the card from the side, pop it out, slip it out very easily. The last issue, well, we'll say second to last, is the deck box itself. The cards did not fit into the deck box very well. You can see that one wasn't too bad, but getting them out was definitely an issue. I needed to make it a bit wider. And then also, this is something that I'm realizing with a lot of dual disc designs, is that you really need something to keep the cards in here, because when you have the dual disc on your arm and your arm goes sideways or it's hanging down, the cards, especially in the sleeves, they puff up a lot and they're liable to just slip right out. This does not do anything really to keep them in. We tried to mitigate it by just putting like a band around it, kind of like the bands that you put your arm in that hold it onto your arm. But in general, it didn't work too well. It makes it really hard to take the cards out. And also, if you think about it, the number of times that you're searching your deck in the modern game and shuffling it, yeah, you need to basically have your deck to be very accessible, easily removed. So that was definitely a design issue that I ran into. Final thing that I struggled with, you can see the life point counter here is just kind of like a roller dial. It is very similar to the original dual disc toy, where it was, you know, you kind of would just roll it to create your life points. This works similarly, but you can't really get your finger in there to actually change it. So that's a little bit of a challenge. And then also you can see that the numbers have kind of rolled a little bit. I think I set it to 8,000 when I originally inserted it, but they've definitely kind of bumped around a bit since then. So it's not perfect, but definitely it looks very cool. I'm going to have Andrea go ahead and put it on and show you guys. No.
You just take it out.
Well, just, no, hold on. Just leave it on, and I mean, it'll stay on your arm. Okay, so, here, come a little closer so they can see. And yeah, hold it up. I got the blade. I'll hold on to this while you kind of, wait, why is it? That's why it's caught. Okay, there we go. Well, no, here, show before, yeah, first let's just kind of, you can hold it up. So, yeah, definitely there's some edits that need to be made. One thing that we learned, hold that up, you guys can see over here, there's supposed to be another strap. Don't know where it went. It fell out somewhere, lost it at the convention. It makes sense because you can see, here, hold your arm up again. You can see this one over here snapped as we were trying to pull it and put it through. And because the clasp is heavier than that side, it's really easy, well, maybe not so much here in the deck zone, but the other one's further back. I think it's much easier for them to just kind of slip and pull right out. So that one got lost somehow. Definitely when I'm upgrading this or kind of like fine tuning it, I will be not using these straps. They're really stretchy. They don't do very well for securing it to your arm. So we're kind of going over all the errors here because, again, one thing I'm hoping you guys can learn from this series is if you want to make your own, pitfalls to avoid. And definitely these are things that I need to learn because I'm going to be making a lot more dual discs. I'm going to be changing this stuff in the future. So yeah, so there's still some work to be done on it to kind of fine tune this thing. Something that I do want to show off to you guys is some of the design choices that I made with it. A lot of the Amazonas monsters have these kind of rings with like bones, teeth in them. So that's kind of where I got the idea for these rings with the rings inside. I did paint the little sort of teeth coming off gold. I thought that looked cool because the Amazonases do wear a lot of like gold necklaces, gold jewelry. The Amazonas monsters also have a lot of patterns of these colored triangles. A lot of them are blue, red, green. So you see a lot of those throughout the piece. We've got the blue ones going across the graveyard, the red ones going across here. And then, of course, skulls. There are a lot of bones and skulls in the Amazonas monsters. Obviously, it makes sense because they're sort of like an ancient warrior tribe. So they're making use of a lot of that stuff. And especially when it comes to like the spiritual art aspects of the Amazonas monsters, there's a lot of skull motifs, things like that. They also have a lot of gems incorporated, which is where the idea for the life point counter came from, that is just sort of like a blue gem, the life point counter inside. Turn your hand this way. The thing over the Monster Zone holder here, this is supposed to be sort of like a bone, like the nose of, you know, just like a random kind of monster. And then go ahead and open that arm up. And on the back side here, you guys can see too, again, more gems. A lot of Amazonas monsters, they have like those green gems. And again, gold is a big part of their design as well. So we have that gold band going around with the green gems included. A couple like sort of bony spikes up here, and I painted the whole thing like kind of sandy colors and dark brown colors, give it like a very sort of foresty, but kind of like almost like deserty feel as well. And then as far as the functionality of this, go ahead and grab hold. Yep, there we go. And bring it on in. Excellent. There we go. All right, here. Bring it down a little bit. There you go. Hold it right there. Are you okay holding it up?
I'm getting a little bit tired, but yeah.
Okay, hang in there. So yeah, again, there's one. There's a lot of design flaws, but another design flaw that we had was the grip here in the handle is a little bit uncomfortable. But this is basically how I envisioned it to function, and it does roughly function that way, where you hold on here. You draw with your opposite hand, reaching in for your cards, pulling them out, and then inserting those cards into your dual disc down here on the arm of the dual disc. Oh, careful, don't bend them. So you can see they fit in really nicely. We have these little triangles here that are designed to keep the card in, to keep it from falling out. The spells and traps don't have anything to block them like that, so that's where it gets a little bit tricky. And this is where Andrea needs to be careful and not just jam the cards in randomly. Let me help you with that before you bend it. But yeah, so I will say the spells and traps do fit in nicely, but you can see it sliding out already. So yeah, this is where Andrea needs to do a little bit of arm day training, try and keep that dual disc at a height where it's not falling. I may go back and try and print this thing a little bit lighter, but it's tough because we basically had just enough room for the gold stars with the chains, and then, I mean, 6 monster zones and a field spell zone, it was just enough. There's no extra monster zone because this is, I mean, well, honestly, it's just, I think there's just not enough space generally to do an extra monster zone. But also, I mentioned it, I think, previously in one of my posts. I'm more into Genesis lately. I'm going to be putting out a video about that soon, about Genesis format, kind of my thoughts on it. But I really, really, really prefer Genesis format. And in Genesis format, there is no extra monster zone. So it's not necessary to have. Scooch forward. Yes, they can get a better view of the whole thing. So yeah, no extra monster zone, but this is basically the functionality of the dual disc. Again, fits the cards really well, holds them really well. The spell and trap zone blockers, it's really tough. I mean, I don't know that there's anything you could put, and especially because it's just like an opening for them to keep them in. So really it's always, I think, and even with the toys it was like this, it's always going to come down to the person who's holding onto the dual disc, just trying to make sure that their spell and trap cards aren't popping out when they are using it functionally. So yeah, basically that's the full design of the dual disc, some of the errors, how it works, where the inspiration came from, and yeah, there's a few tweaks that need to be made, but overall I'm really happy with how this one came out. There are no dual discs in all of Yu-Gi-Oh that have this kind of design where the dual disc itself, the field zone itself, sort of hangs freely from the actual body of the disc that has the cards in it, where you draw everything, where your graveyard is at. So I was really excited to make this. I think it matches great with the Amazonas motif, and it was a really fun project, and it came out very, very nicely. All right, well, stop. You look like you're Nazi saluting.
I was showing the front.
It looked great for a second. That's why I let you do it. But then you brought your arm up higher, and it looked like you were Heiling Hitler.
No.
You're gonna get canceled. I'm gonna get canceled if I put that on YouTube.
No.
Yeah, but that's not. I can't. Well, there may be other things I can do.
Kiwi's gonna be in your video.
Kiwi? Why Kiwi?
Because she's
Kiwi's a large. Kiwi
her
doesn't
face
need
is on your video.
I'm gonna cut this part out. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please like it, obviously, and subscribe. And if you guys want to see more dual disc videos, let me know which ones you'd like to see me work on in the future. I'm thinking that maybe in the future, instead of just presenting fully finished dual discs, I'll also show you guys the process of actually working on them so that you guys can take a crack at it yourself. If you have any other questions about how I made this, if you have any suggestions, tips, feel free to let me know in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.